Evening, everybody. How are we getting on? All right. Bit different today. I thought I'd bring you to work. I'm not allowed to film in here, obviously, for different reasons. Mostly, I do want to keep my job a little bit longer. But what I'm doing is a night shift. So I thought, fair enough, I'll bring you along for a ride. A few of my colleagues have said, what the hell do you get up to on a night anyway, JT? But we'll have a little catch-up in my break, because I get quite a long break. What does a Skegness donkey get for break? I've balls that up already. What do they give a Skegness donkey for break in the UK? 15 minutes like every bugger else. Alright everybody. So here we are. I've had a little trot. It's gone alright so far. First half of my shift were steady. I had a couple of things to deal with. Basically I work in an office environment and I chose to go for this to work nights. I work nights. There's probably a lot of people still working nights, isn't there? Something I did years and years ago, to be honest, as well. Because when you're in an office and you've got to stretch your legs a bit and get a bit of fresh air if you can. That's nice, isn't it, that fish? I don't know if it'll pick that up. It's the first time I've used this neat mode on this camera. It was steady, and I thought we'll come for a walk and I'll show you what it's like in Sheffield at night. This is the station. It's not too bad. There's hardly anybody out, and weather has been really warm, and in office it were really sort of humid and warm, so I definitely needed to get some fresh air. Otherwise you end up getting a bit sleepy on nights, don't you? Here we are. So I had a break, I had a bit of something to eat. I had a prawn pasta salad from Asda, because what I'm trying to do is not fall into a trap when you're working on nights, because you can sometimes go into like no thinking mode, don't prepare because you go into work, and then you eat wrong stuff, don't you? I were ordering, first time I started on nights here, I found I'd have a takeaway once a week, and it's not ideal, and it would definitely doing me no good health wise. So now basically I just put a bit more thought into it, and also sleeping better is even in the day, so I can make better choices when my mind's not as foggy, you know. We're in a bus station now in Sheffield actually. I'm going to show you somewhere quite creepy in a minute before I finish this little stint. And over there's the train station, and I don't know if you can see any trains. Probably the last few leaving Sheffield now because it's past midnight. Like I said, shift's not going too bad. So another thing I've done is I've joined Slimming World, and it's been alright. I've lost half a stone in about 3 weeks. So gradual, you know, a couple of pound here, £3 off, £1 off, that type of thing. And I think that is probably realistic and sustainable for myself. I know the folks have tried that Minjaro, is it? Mounjaro and all that stuff. But it all seemed a bit expensive for me, so I thought I'd try Slimming World, and it's good. I go to a group in Mexborough, and my sister-in-law runs group, so that's always a bonus to see her and see the rest of the family, because they all help. Alex helps out, and Leah helps out as well, so it's a decent group. And I think that's the thing, innit? If you go to a group and it's quite, everybody's like-minded and they all support each other, it's easier to do to shift weight, isn't it, when everybody's on the same page, like talk about it and stuff. That knows. So bus station, sorry. No buses. Now not to come bus wise. Not many folks about. I seen a fox down here, or the neat. It was beautiful. So it just shows you, doesn't it? It's a change, isn't it, from me walking around field to like the urban, built up city of Sheffield. Sheffield's famous for a lot of things. Sheffield steel. Oh, they'll set full Monty. I'm bored of hearing about that. One of the things it's famous for in the supernatural creepy world is this pub here. Let me see if I can show you. The Queen's Head. Now then, beautiful. It's one of the oldest pubs in Sheffield. And it's supposed to be a haunted pub. Now then, ghosts. There has been some sightings of, were they cavaliers sat round fire? It's beautiful in there. It's really old-fashioned and beams and that still in. And I know the person who's running it at the minute, Stuart, is a friend who I used to work with. He's a good lad. But yeah, look at that. Obviously it's shut now, and I'm working, so I can't really go in. I could go in, I suppose, just not have ale. But why would you do that then? Some of you might ask. Yeah, there's a nice little seating area outside, and aye, Royal Mail over at Road. Yeah, it's a nice building, as you can see. It looks like it's dropping in the middle, but it's been sort of like kept. It's got to be one of the oldest buildings in Sheffield. They mind pubs. Yeah, it's lovely, good setting. Yeah, so like I said, round the fireplace, allegedly there's been sightings of spirits, ghosts, things paranormal. Cavaliers sat around fire, trying to keep warm. And one of the women who reckoned they saw this cavalier said it just turned its head slightly, and it had no face. Whew. So I reckon to that. Spooky, innit? It's quite well lit though around here. I won't go further down the road because it's it looks a bit dodgy. Now, if you're wondering where all your parcels are, and why they're late, it's not them poor buggers' faults. They're working neat like me, look, you know what I mean? So on a night I'll probably have a bit of fruit as I go. You need something to go to that's not chocolate, because first thing your body thinks is, what's happening here? I should be asleep. I want something sweet. Let's have some chocolate from the vending machine, or let's have some crisps or something. And I've had to check that off. And trying to go to like nibbles, like bits of fruit, you know, maybe a low-fat yogurt or something in between. But I tend not to eat that much, actually. It's weird, you get used to it. When you're on nights, I only do a couple of nights every set of like 4 that I work, so I do like 4 on 4 off. So I'll do like a couple of early shifts and a couple of late shifts. And I do prefer sort of, like tonight, coming to work, it was quiet on roads and not much in, and didn't weigh traffic anyway, and you could see almost like things settling, do you know what I mean? Like you ain't got that hustle and bustle of like trying to get here at 6 in the morning. That's a different kettle of fish. Anyway, look at this. This is weird as well. This is a bit creepy, because up there, I think under that bridge or just other side of it is a tunnel. Now these tunnels run all the way around Sheffield, underground. A lot of them are still there, and correct me if I'm wrong, people from Sheffield, But this local tunnel here near to where I work it's supposed to be called the Megatron or something. You'd expect it to look like a transformer, wouldn't it? Megatron, I think it's Megatron. People go in these tunnels. There's people going in these tunnels and they do that urban exploring, do you know what I mean? Fair play to them. As long as they don't see any ghosts. Maybe that's what they want. So I do 12 hours and all, 4 on 4 off. But you've just got to do what you've got to do this day and age, haven't you? You've just got to do what you've got to do. There's no... If you get the ideal job, it's normally hours that are weird. Or if you've got a really bad job, you know, it's normally Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and everything else is all right in your life. It's just your job that you don't like. But I actually like this one, it's good. I remember my first ever job actually. It was brilliant. I used to, I started I think I was about 17 and a half, maybe 18. And I used to just go to it was a shop that I worked in called Jolly Giant Toy Superstore. Anybody remember that? It were alright. Because I were into my action figures and all sorts all my life. You know, I grew up with Star Wars figures and stuff like that. So it were an interesting job as a young'un. Wages were terrible, and we had a canteen, right? And I think back to this, and it weren't right. We had a canteen with no windows in, or there were no aircon or all like that. And back when I was working my first job, they were smoking, tabbing away, blowing it on your dinner. There were no like smoking areas, and laws and that were completely different, do you know what I mean? So yeah, and then health and safety wise it weren't very clever. Now I remember boss, Mr. Myers, he were a bit he were alright, don't get me wrong, he were only doing his job and he probably got a lot of stress on. I remember he used to say to me, get up that ladder and shift them big boxes over there. This were on shop floor, this. You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it these days, going on the shop floor and getting up ladders while there's customers underneath. You wouldn't be allowed. And I'm talking, it must have been 25 foot in air, and he used to throw stuff up for me to catch on top of ladders and merchandise like put on shelves at top. And I just think that it used to freak me then. I weren't really bothered about heights, but there's no way, obviously I couldn't do it now, but when you think, looking back, I wouldn't say it was the most dangerous job, but there were no health and safety or all like that in it. Not now. What the heck? So you do what you've got to do, don't you? Again, to make ends meet, and it was my first job. Didn't want to let my parents down. You know, needed a bit of pocket money, that type of thing. So I kept going and I stuck it out. And it had its little perks. It did have its little perks, I'll be honest with you. You've got to make a job crack, haven't you? Even then, my grandma used to say to me, don't stand for egg under hat, Jonathan. I thought, what's she on about, egg under an hat? She means like, don't let anybody take piss. You know, don't be a fool. You know, do your job and stuff, but try not to get took advantage of. And it stuck with me over years, really, that. Really good lesson. Let me turn you around and see. It's not bad here, look, is it? It's like being on Benidorm front, but it's obviously a lot colder and there's not as many bars. There's none. Yeah, so back to Jolly Giant. It weren't bad. The perks were, I was there, present, and it was my job to receive, get ready for this, the first ever Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles in the UK. Each store, and I were like in the warehouse and the shop front. So as warehouse person, my job was to check the turtles in, make sure they were all received, price the turtles up. We put them in one one turtle style, like you've got Donatello in one trolley, Raphael is it in other trolley, Michelangelo, and then is it Leonardo in another trolley, and it was one per customer what you were allowed, because the shortages were on. And I think that was one of the first toys I remember to have all that hype and you know, shortages. Oh, you can only have one per customer. They were fighting in shop, I'm not joking you, they were fighting for these figures, these turtles. They were going balmy for them. We had to have a security on. We had security for the first couple of weekends because it was that mental. Calendar came down and all news people. I don't know if there's any footage anywhere. Anyway, to cut a long story short, going up ladders and having cigs blown in your face while you're trying to eat, something's going to give into it. So we did a stock take with turtles, and I thought to myself, well, you can count them as many times as you want, Mr. Myers, but you're going to be at least 48 shy. Because, and I'm not saying that this is something I condone these days, but I had a little turtle collection of my own. Of course I did. Not so sure. And you know, I kept them in box, and I kept them in the Bandai brown outer cardboard casing, and they weren't opened at all. They were either 24 or 48 pieces in this big box. And I didn't open them until early 2000s, and I think I get them my lad to play away, or I got them out of the box. Anyway, I ended up getting rid of them, didn't I? Of course, fast forward 10-15 years and that box sealed, it's like out, isn't it? It's worth, I think it was worth a couple of grand for the box sealed that weren't opened. So you're not going to know then, are you? I should have bloody known, because I'd lived through Star Wars figures and then seeing them sort of go up in value. But I didn't learn. Any road up, I'm going to head back in and do a bit more of my shift. And as night goes on, there is people working out there, you know, still. There's grafters going off. There's this guy here pulling into the train now. He's pulling his train in. There's Royal Mail further up street working. There's people in city working and stuff, and there's people doing what they've got to do, like I said, to get by. But I do like it. I do like the chilled out vibe of working nights. It's just more chilled out. I have to remember to stretch my legs and keep going for a walk and stuff like that, but yeah, it's all right. It's not too bad. I wonder. That were an interesting chat actually about my job. I've had some shit jobs, but that were for my age, it were all right. Another thing with that job, just before I go back in, I looked after games counter, which had like a glass front on it, and it had all Super Nintendo games and all NES games and Mega Drive games and everything, and all for sale, and they were dear even back then. But I used to take one home, not pinching. No, I won't pinch. I used to take one home and play it through a weekend and put it back in cardboard and put it in shop, because obviously it's a cartridge. You can't really see that they were open. So I had a bit of fun with games and all, to be honest. Right, I'll head back in. I'll probably have a coffee, get settled back down, and it'll come around quick. I'll be coming home to me family soon. Right, thanks for watching everybody. A bit different today, but nice one. Cheers.